time, or we have never gotten the chance to meet. And I am so excited that y'all are here for Inside Out. We have such a fun Sunday planned for y'all, because in just a second we have an all-play game, and then following that I have two major cool announcements that y'all are not gonna want to miss. And then following that, the one and only Kyle Mazzola is going to kick off a brand new series here at Inside Out. So, like I said, we have an all-play game. So, for the all-play game, I'm going to need everybody to do two things. I need you to find a partner, link arms with them, and stand up. So when you find your partner, when you find your partner, link arms with them. And if you don't have a partner, raise your hand. If you don't have a partner, raise your hand so you can find a partner. Oh, look, him right here. He needs a partner right here. He needs a partner. There we go. Okay. Okay, now the game we are playing today is Super Combo. So if you have never played this game before, what it is there is going to be a category that pops up onto the screen, okay? So let's just say it's gonna randomly pick, and it is going to be airband, okay? And you and your partner have to pick one of these to do, okay? So let's just say I pick air drums, okay? I'm going to pretend like I'm doing the air drums. And then what's going to happen is it's going to go, and it's going to pick one of the options, okay? So for practice, let's see what it picks. It picked air guitar. So if you were doing air guitar, you and your partner would be out, okay? Does this make sense? Everybody give a thumbs up if this makes sense. Okay, now let's get on with the first round of the game. The first category is dun dun dun, funny faces. Blowfish, moose, or unicorn. You and your partner have to be doing the same thing. I think I'm going to do unicorn. Okay? All right, can we get our elimination going? And it's moose. So, there we go, lots of people still in. But if you were picking moose, I need you to take a seat. All right, lots of people still in, so let's get that next category up on the screen. Dinosaurs. We have, I don't even know if I can say that first one. Brontosaurus, pterodactyl, or T-Rex. All right, I'm seeing lots of pterodactyl, some T-Rex, some Brontosaurus. Okay, can we get the next elimination going? And it is T-Rex! Lots of cheering, but also some people got out. So if you picked T-Rex, you have to take a seat. If you pick T-Rex, make sure you take a seat. But who's all still in the game? Okay, all right, let's get that next category up on the screen. Da, da, da. I'm guessing movies. It was greetings. Fist bump, high five, or low five. Low five is kind of fun. I think that is the one I'm choosing. All right, can we get that elimination going? battle games. We have rock, paper, scissors, sticks, or thumb wrestles. But before we go, I have a little bit of a rule change. And the rule change is you have to be doing what it lands on. So, if it lands on thumb wrestle and you are doing thumb wrestle, you stay in, okay? You want your option to be picked. Okay. All right, I think everybody is ready. Can we get the elimination going? And it is thumb wrestle! No, Colby and Kaysen, y'all were doing sticks, so take a seat. So if... Wait, what? Okay, if it did not land on what you were doing, take a seat. Take a seat. Who's still all in? Let's make some noise. Okay, okay. All right, can we get that next category up on the screen? Dance party. Shouldn't dance, the dab, or YMCA. Remember, it has to land on the one you pick. I'm looking real closely over here and over there. Okay, can I get... I'm gonna wait till everybody picks. Okay, perfect. Can we get that elimination going? And it's the dab. So, if you were not doing the dab, then you have to take a seat. If you were not doing the dab, I need you to take a seat. Okay. All right, let's get that next category up on the screen. Couple people left, couple groups left. Movies. We have E.T., Home Alone, or Rocky. I don't think I've seen E.T. or Rocky before, but... All right, I'm watching closely. Okay. All right, can we get the elimination going? So if you were doing Home Alone, yes, y'all were not doing Home Alone, so I'm gonna ask you to take a seat. If you are still in the game, you can come up onto the stage. You and your pair. I didn't see it. All right, cheer if your small group is up on the stage. Okay. All right, can we get that next category on the stage, crowd? I'm gonna need y'all to help me to tell me who's out. Line up. Back to back, face to face, or side hug. All right, we have face to face, side hug, face to face, back to back, side hug, back to back. All right, can we get that elimination going? If you don't want to party, then you don't want to. It's back to back, so I do not think they were doing back to back. Okay, these are our two remaining groups left. Say small group?
My name's Lauren, and I'm in sophomore girls. My name is Faith, and I'm also in sophomore girls.
There we go. Hey, and what's your name in your small group?
Connor Ludwig, sophomore boys. Oh, Win Wallace, sophomore boys.
There we go. So it is the sophomores versus the sophomores. Can we get the next category up on the screen? Who thinks the girls are going to win? Okay. And who thinks the boys are going to win? A little bit, okay. Y'all have to pick something different. They have picked flamingo, and the boys have picked monkey. All right, for the win, it is, dun dun dun, monkey! So I am so sorry, girls, but the sophomore boys have won. Give it a round of applause for the sophomore boys. Y'all have won bags of candy. Feel free to share with your small group. Take it home. Do whatever you want. Congratulations. Everybody give it a round of applause for the game. And like I said earlier, I have two major announcements. And the first announcement is that Back to School Bash is August 17th. You are not going to want to miss it. Make some noise if you've been to Back to School Bash. A little bit. Okay, Back to School Bash is going to be a competition with the school. So you're going to show up in your school spirit, wear that Rouse shirt, wear that Vista shirt, wherever you go. It's going to be so much fun. You are not going to want to miss it. And today you might have noticed that we did a supply drive. And if you brought any of these supplies today at InsideOut, what's going to happen is that it is a competition between the grades. And whichever grade brought the most school supplies will have a secret surprise revealed at Back to School Bash. So you have to go to Back to School Bash to figure out who won and what the surprise is. And lastly, like I said, Kyle Mazzola is here to kick off a brand new series. So check out this video and he'll be right up.
Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Good? All right. What's up, InsideOut? Hey, I'm super excited to be here with you guys today. Make some noise if you were at Camp 75 just a few weeks ago in the summer. Hey, I got to play the super small part, but a super cool part of being an intern at Camp 75 this summer, a super small part of a super big weekend where we just got to show the love of God to our community, and I'm thankful for each and every one of you guys. One thing that we consistently talk about at Camp 75 is not letting our faith die or stay in that season, right? Not letting it stay in that summer. And you guys are actively walking that out, right? You're showing up. This is week 2 of Inside Out, and we're super excited to have you guys for this year. We have a ton of awesome series planned, and I have the privilege of starting our first one. But I want to start with a question. What do you do when you don't know how to do something? What do you do when you don't know how to do something? If you're anything like me and most of us in our generation and our day and age, is we go straight to Google. So I wondered, what are the most commonly asked questions on Google? So here's the first one. The first one is how to take a screenshot on a computer. Now, I'm just going to be honest. This is probably moms, dads, grandmas, and grandpas asking this question. Small group leaders, that's not a diss on you guys. However, this is a topic, I'll be honest, this is a topic that every time I look it up and I get an answer, I still have to look it up the next time too. Like, it just immediately removes from my mind. The second one is how to tie a tie. Boys in the room, this is not from personal experience, but the time to look up this video or the time to search this is not 15 minutes before an internship interview, and it's not 15 minutes before an online Zoom presentation. Again, I would never do that, but just a tip, don't look up this video 15 minutes before. You're going to get really frustrated. You're going to be really upset. The next one is how to delete an Instagram account. I think this kind of goes with social media. Let's just address the barrier in the room. Like if you're looking this up, your friend group probably just had maybe a big blow up, maybe a breakup, or if you're anything like me, you got the Sunday notification from Apple Screen Time, and that number was way too big. And you were like, what am I doing with my days? What am I doing with my life? I got to cut some of these apps down. The fourth one is how to get in shape. I think this is a fair question. I think we've all asked this question at some point. We all want to be in better shape tomorrow than we are today. How can we get in shape? How do we get in better shape? I'd be interested, though, with this one to see when these were searched up. Like, for me, these come, like, early in the morning, maybe in the winter, right before the summer starts, or spring break, right before school gets out, because I'm like, man, I just want to look good in the summer. I want to get in shape for the summer, for the pools, all those different things. I'd be interested to see if this spikes or not at all. But these are all good questions. They're all great questions. I'm sure I've contributed to all of these searches at some point. I'm sure that most of you in the room actually have as well, if we're being honest. However, I was a little surprised that these were the top 4 questions that came up and that were asked. And I was even more surprised that these were all relatively shallow questions. I think we as humans have a lot of big, hard-hitting questions that we have to tackle. Maybe, what is the purpose of my life? What's next for me, man? What does college look like? What does my future look like? I think we have these hard, heavy-hitting questions that we don't necessarily ask all the time, which is funny, because those typically have the biggest implications of our lives. Going into August, going into the school year, the question I want to start with today that I thought would have been on this list but wasn't, was how to make friends. I would have thought that a bunch of people would be looking this up, would be Googling it as we head into school year. I figured that all of us want to make friends, but not only just make friends, but make good friends. But when this wasn't on there, I was convinced that maybe it was a wording issue. Maybe this wording of this sentence wouldn't pop up, but some wording of some other questions would. So those questions that I tried to find would then be how to be a great friend, or maybe how to make friends in the first place, how to keep friends, how to choose good friends, how to change friend groups, how to know if your friend group is good, how to go deeper in your friendships. If we're being honest, I think all of us have asked these questions either to Google, to someone, to ourselves at some point of our lives, especially when we talk about the school year coming up and friendship being such an important part of our lives. The reality of our current situation is that you guys in the room today have different friend landscapes than the person sitting next to you. Everyone is unique when it comes to their friends. I actually even debated starting our time today just asking the question, how many friends do you have? And I wouldn't have really wanted a genuine answer, but when you look around, your answer probably would have been completely different than the people sitting next to you. And the cool thing about that is we all have different experiences in friendship. We all either feel really good about our friendship spot right now, or maybe we don't feel so good. Maybe we feel a little isolated, we feel alone, we feel a little scared heading into this next season or this next year of high school. And I think all of us can kind of somewhat get back to this one idea, though, that our friendships have provided us with some of the best moments and memories in our lives, and they've provided us with some of the hardest, most sad, worst moments and memories in our life. Freshmen in the room, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you're a freshman in the room. Awesome. Well, first of all, welcome to Inside Out for your second week. We're super excited to have you guys. But just being honest, like the next week, the next 2 weeks, the starting month of August in school is a big deal. And I don't mean that to make you guys nervous or to make you guys stressed out, but the reality is that you guys are meeting people today that could show up in your stories 4 years down the line. You're meeting people today that could show up in your life as someone in a moment or a memory that changed your life forever. That's the cool thing about what you're walking in. Seniors, raise your hand. Awesome. You guys have kind of gotten both sides of it, right? You guys have seen the sweetness of a 4-year friendship. You've seen the cool parts of being so connected with someone that you can go to them with your questions about faith. But you've also seen the hard parts. You've seen the breakup. You've seen the friend group split. You've seen the tough times. You've seen all these things because you guys have lived it. And the reality is that we've all been able to witness the best moments of our life with our friends and some of the worst and hardest moments of life because of our friends. But I think what God is asking us to do, or what God has in store for us, is different than even the best moments and even the worst moments. I think he just has an entire different purpose of friendships in our life, but I think sometimes we miss it. Actually, I'd go as far as to say, if we don't get intentional about our friends right now, if we don't get intentional about our friends this year, this freshman year, this sophomore year, this junior year, this senior year, then we may miss or we may not get all that God has intended for us in our relationships. I think God has something super special in store for you. I think you're right where you need to be. I think you are right where God intended for you to be. The people that walk in your halls, the people that sit next to you at lunch, the people that you share a class with, I think they're there for a reason. And I think if our eyes are open and our ears are open and our feet are ready to run after those people and to run to those people, we can do incredible things and witness incredible things through that. I want to start really going deeper into our conversation by asking you guys a question. So if you're taking notes on pen and paper, feel free to write this out, write your answer. If not, I'd love for you to pull out your phone, go to your notes app. We're going to start with a question. I want you to be open and honest. The question is, what are you looking for in a friend? What are you looking for in a best friend? If you could create the dream best friend of your life, what would they be? Would they be trustworthy? Would they be loyal? Would they be smart? Would they be funny? What would they be? What are you looking for in a best friend? Try writing down maybe 5 to 7 things that really stand out in your life that you would really desire in a friendship currently, that you've experienced, have a good experience with, and the best friends that you've had in the past, and that you would want to be your friends in the future. I'm going to give you guys a second. When you're done, go ahead and put your phone down, your note down, and look back up, and we'll keep going. But what are you looking for in a friend? What are you looking for in a friend today? Okay, I'm seeing some people look up. Remember, 5 to 7 quick things. First, initial reactions. What are you looking for in a friend today? And then once you're done, I want you to look back down at that list, but I want you to look at that list with a new lens. I want you to look at that list with a new set of eyes, and I want you to ask yourself this question. Are you being the kind of friend you want to have? When you look at that list of the person that you just said you'd want to be your friend, do you relate to that list? Are you able to be that list? Are you working on becoming like that list? Are you loyal? We all want that friend that won't gossip behind our back, that will stand up for us, that will have our back, that's loyal, that loves us. But are we willing to show up? Are we willing to sacrifice? Are we willing to spend our time and energy and effort somewhere else in order to show up for them and what they need in that current moment? Are you being the kind of friend that you want to have? And I want a genuine, honest answer to that question. We'll unpack that further in small groups, but are you being the kind of friend you want to have? See, I think sometimes we get confused as people, and we think that having great friends means I am a great friend, but I would actually say that having great friends is much different than being a great friend. Our culture is very focused on what we have, what we want to have, what people can do for us, and not necessarily what we can do for other people. So the reality is we focus on having great friends. We want those people around us, but we don't focus on necessarily being those people for other people. When you look at this list, I hope that you guys can feel a little bit of tension, because I think the point that I'm trying to make is what you're looking for should look a lot like you. What you are looking for should look a lot like you. So that list on your paper of the type of friend you want to have should look like the type of friend that you want to be or that you are becoming. So that list of 5 to 7 characteristics that you have written down that say, hey, this is the type of friend I would want, should look a lot like the type of friend that you think you are. And if they're not, that means there's a gap. And there's a gap in either this side or this side. Maybe it is honestly as simple as your friends have to step it up. They've got to meet you in an area. The people you surround yourself with aren't running the same race as you. They're not as strong in their faith as you. Maybe they're not as outgoing. They're not as driven. They're not as respectful. They don't invite you to things. Maybe they need to step it up. And I think that's fair. And I think that's honest. But then maybe look in the mirror. And maybe you need to step it up. Maybe you need to extend that invite. Maybe you need to go out of your way to check on that friend. Maybe you have to take the next step and run after the same race. Maybe you have to be as driven and as strong and as polite and as trustworthy and as loyal as they are. I think this is an even side that we don't necessarily look at. And at some point, someone is going to be uneven. Either you need to step up or your friends do, but what if you both did it together and we maximize the potential of our friends? For our scripture tonight, I want to dive into a passage that I really love, but it really highlights the different levels of friendship. One, a relationship that is super strong and shows how relationships should be handled, and then another one that shows how it shouldn't, how relationships should never be handled. And that's the story of Jonathan, David, and King Saul. And if you did hear David, if you heard the name David, you are right, that is David from David and Goliath. And that story is really well known, basically super simple. David was a young boy who came from nothing, a very humble background, wasn't super strong, and he was an Israelite. And the Israelites were at war the Israelites were at war, and he had a foe named Goliath. And Goliath stood 10 feet tall, and Goliath was the scary guy that really no one wanted a piece of. They don't want any part of challenging Goliath. And Goliath actually was so strong that he said that all his people would surrender to the Israelites if one man was able to stand up and challenge him. And for years, for months, these war raged on. Goliath was undefeated. And David eventually said, I've had enough. I've had enough of this situation. I trust God. I'm going to go and I'm going to put a stop to this. I'm going to work and I'm going to defeat Goliath so that my people can live in peace. And David was, again, just super tiny. Goliath stood 10 feet tall, and Goliath actually laughed at David in this challenge. He laughed at the idea that a guy like David, a young guy, a small guy, not super strong, not experienced in the army, not experienced in combat, would even step foot near him. And as Goliath approached David to deliver a final blow, David reached down, grabbed a slingshot, grabbed a rock, and swung it as hard as he could right at Goliath's face. And it hit him straight in the head, and down went Goliath. And the Israelites had won the war. Now, this gained attention from everybody. Everybody was blown away by this act of courage, by this moment of strength, by this moment of leadership, including King Saul. And we actually get to see King Saul's response to when King Saul realizes just how strong David is in his relationship with God. In 1 Samuel 18, verse 2 through 4, it says, "From that day, Saul kept David with him and did not let him return home to his family." Saul is saying, hey, look, you did something so incredible that I don't want you to leave my side. I'm going to take you with me everywhere I go because you are so strong. God is so clearly present in your life that you don't get to leave. You're right here. You're right next to me. We're going to walk through life together. See, immediate parallel. Saul is David's friend, or Saul kept David around as a friend because of the things that David did for Saul. I wonder how many of us in our life have experienced a friendship like that, where we keep someone around because maybe we don't want to be lonely, or we have been kept around by that boy or that girl because, man, it was just better that way. I gave them something that I didn't always have to, and then when they got tired of me, when they replaced me, they left. That's not real friendship. That's not what God has in store, and it's not the way it's supposed to be done, but we already see Saul doing it here with David. We continue, and it says, and Jonathan made a covenant with David, which a covenant is just a promise. I imagine this as Jonathan walking up to David. Jonathan is the son of King Saul. Jonathan walks up to David, puts a contract down, and says, hey, sign this. We're going to be best friends forever. I'm going to make a promise with David because he loved him as himself. He kept David around because he loved him, not because David did things for him, not because David got him power, not because David won battles for him, but because he loved him as himself. We continue by seeing Jonathan took off the robe he was wearing and gave it to David, along with his tunic and even his sword, his bow, and his belt. This is not Jonathan just surrendering to David. This is Jonathan showing up and sacrificing and being the friend that he would want to have. He knows what David is willing to do. David just walked into the fire, walked into a head-to-head match with a guy who was 10 feet tall and unbeaten and had the courage and strength to go toe-to-toe with him because he was done of his people getting disrespected. Jonathan knows David's quality of character. Jonathan knows that God is present in David's life. So what does Jonathan do? Jonathan shows up, and he symbolically gets rid of his status, his stature, all of it, his power, his wealth, and he gives it to David. He says, I'm going to trust you with this. I'm going to be loyal to you. I'm going to be with you. And we're going to figure this out together. Already parallels of Saul's relationship with David and Jonathan's relationship with David. See, Jonathan was so good at one thing, and Jonathan always made it more about David and less about himself. Jonathan was less concerned about what David could do for him and more concerned about what he could do for David. And it changed everything in their relationship. And we're about to unpack that even further. But Jonathan was always less concerned about himself and more concerned about David and how he could help him. After a few years go by, and David continues to rise the ranks of the armies and rise the rank in the kingdom as King Saul continues to praise him. And David eventually wins some more battles. He wins some more wars. He captures some more resources. He captures some more land. He's very successful. David actually even then begins to kind of build a name for himself. Maybe people start questioning King Saul. They say, hey, maybe it's not because of how great a king you are. Maybe it's because of how great this David guy is. How great that God is through David, how great David is, how strong he is as a leader. Maybe it's all about David and not about King Saul. And King Saul gets really bitter. He becomes really bitter towards David. He does not like him anymore because, hey, look, You stopped contributing to my image. You stopped contributing to my reputation. You're of no use to me anymore. You've betrayed me now. You are your own thing. I'm going to dump you. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to throw you away. I'm not interested because you're not doing anything for me anymore. That's King Saul's reaction, and we actually get to see the extent that King Saul takes it to in 1 Samuel 19, verse 1, where it says, Saul told Jonathan and all the attendants to kill David. Now, the reality of our situation currently is you have brought people to your parents' house. You have brought friends into your family. You've brought friends to events. And I'm sure in moments, your mom probably didn't approve of this best friend. I'm sure, girls in the room, you have brought a boy home, and dad was like, oh, I don't know about this guy. I'm sure that's happened, but none of them have sat here and said, I'd like for you to kill them. I'd like for you to go to that extent. That hasn't happened in your life. And if it has, that's a whole different issue. We have to stop the conversation there and have a whole new one. But Saul literally tells Jonathan to kill his best friend out of hate and bitterness because David is no longer contributing to Saul's case. He's no longer contributing to his image. And so in this moment, Jonathan is faced with a test. His dad, the king, someone he's probably admired, probably looked to for wisdom, is telling him to do something that Jonathan knows is morally wrong. But Jonathan also has some motives. If he does this, he's now back in line to be next in line for the king. He gets his power, his status, he gets all that back. So Jonathan is faced with a test. I think the reality is we are all going to be faced with a test over the next 3 months as we go into school when it comes to our relationships and our friends. That girl is going to say something that gets under your skin. That boy is going to do something stupid or yell at you. The things are going to happen. We are all going to be faced with a test. We're all going to be faced at a moment where we can either choose to give in, to give up, or we can choose to dig in and really stand up for that friend, stand rooted in what we believe, be the friend that we want to have. And so we get to see what Jonathan does as we continue. It says, but Jonathan had taken a great liking to David and warned him, my father Saul is looking for a chance to kill you. Be on your guard tomorrow morning. Go into hiding and stay there. I will go out and stand with my father in the field where you are. I'll speak to him about you and will tell you what I found out. Jonathan is met with a test where his status and what he wants could probably be answered pretty clearly. If he had just killed David, he would have been king, he would have been rich, he would have been famous, he would have had anything that he wanted. But he stands here in the test and he says, no, my friendship is rooted in my relationship with God. My friendship is rooted and I want to earn the trust and the loyalty that David has shown me through his actions. And Jonathan passes this test with flying colors, passes the test that he would want someone else to pass for him. And I truly do believe that God designed friendships to operate the way David and Jonathan's has. He designed friendship to be that strong, that no matter what it would do for your status or your reputation or your image or for your life, that you would choose to be the friend that you would want to have, that you would choose to defend someone, that you wouldn't just choose to accept what they can do for you, but that you would show up and ask, hey, what can I do for you? What can I be for you? What kind of friend can I be for you? I think this all boils down to an overarching bottom line of our message today, which is ultimately be the kind of friend that you want to have. There's a lot that's going to be going on in August of this next month. There's a lot that your seniors are going to have to think about. Freshmen, you're doing this for the first time. All these things are going to be new. And friends are going to be something that really helps get you through it. They're also may be something that tests your patience. And they also may be something that makes life a little difficult at times. But I think when we can look in the mirror and we can say, man, if I have done everything I can to be the best friend that I can be in every situation, if I can do everything I can to match that list that I just wrote, this would be my dream friend, that this would be my best friend. If I can do all of those things, I think we'll see God show up in ways that you haven't seen before. My hope for each and every one of you is that through the next month, you would create a friendship or take the next step in friendship that looks like what Jonathan and David had. Something that's rooted in love for God, but also rooted in love for one another, loving you as they love themselves. I think this summer was a great showing of how strong people can be when they come together. Camp 75 saw over 500 students come together and do something great for their community. And it's so easy to be friends in those moments, but we know when August comes around that that's going to be tested. That school is going to be crazy. Drama's going to happen. Friend groups are going to split. People are going to, it's going to happen. You're going to get tested. And if you can look at that test, step back, look in the mirror, and realize that the only thing you can control is the kind of friend you get to be. And when you wake up in the morning, if you can choose that I'm going to be a good friend, I'm going to be the friend that I wish I had had in this moment, I'm going to be the friend that I want to have in the future, I think if we could all take that step and wake up with that mindset, there would be incredible things that we get to see in the halls and classrooms of our students. Honestly, guys, seeing the number of people in this room is incredible to me today. When I was in InsideOut, there was a little lower number for sure, and that's a testament to you guys investing and inviting. And investing and inviting matters truly when it comes from a friend. I hope that your friendships grow so strong this summer that this room is full of people. Not because I'm speaking, not because InsideOut is happening, but because you have such a strong relationship with so many people, because you decided to take the step, to show up, to step out out of your comfort zone and really truly be the friend that you want to have. Not just to one person, but to as many people as you possibly can. I'd love to pray for us before we head into small groups. Dear Lord, thank you for this time. Thank you for these people. Thank you for this place. Thank you for a group of students who's so willing to show up and give their Sunday to learn more about you. We know that sometimes it's not always easy to be on fire for you, to walk out the truths that you have for us, but we ask that you be with us as we walk into this new season of life. Whether this is our first or our second or our third or our fourth year of high school, we ask that you're just with us through these first few weeks, that you're with us as we give us the confidence and just the stability to go out and make a difference, to make an impact, to love people the way that you have loved us, to love them as we love themselves. I ask that you would help our friendships stay secure and stable, that knowing that we have a friend in you at any time in need, but that also that there are people out there who are looking for a friend. People out here who are waiting for me to step up and to fill a gap, or maybe waiting for me to ask them to fill one for me. I ask that you'd allow us to be the friend that we want to have, to be the friend that we wrote about in our notes, to be the friend that can ultimately show up in someone's story time and time again as someone who loves them, who cares for them, and who's always there for them. I ask all of this in your name. In Jesus' name, amen. The small group map is going to be up here. You guys are totally released to go.